I welcome you for this presentation. In this presentation, we are going to discuss about SHA-3, the other name is KECCAK, and RIPEMD-160. Both are hash algorithms only. This is the overview of this presentation. NIST SHA-3 competition, then how the SHA-3 is constructed using the sponge function, then SHA-3 iteration function, then RIPEMD-160 overview, then RIPEMD-160 round function, then RIPEMD-160 compression function, then design criteria of RIPEMD, then the comparison of RIPEMD with MD5 as well as SHA-1, followed by summary of this presentation. We already discussed about SHA-2, one of the versions of SHA-2, that is SHA-512. This is SHA-3. This is the latest version of SHA. Actually, the SHA-2 is also not vulnerable to attacks, but the National Institutes of Standards and Technology decided that the SHA-2 was developed earlier, and now there is a need to have a new SHA, that is the latest version of SHA, and they announced a competition for SHA-3. That is the next generation standard hash algorithm. That in 2007, they request for submission of new hash functions, and they have given the deadline as 2008, and totally they received 64 entries. Then they announced the first round of selections of among 64, they selected only 51 candidates. Then in 2009, the first SHA-3 candidate conference in Feb was announced, and 14 then second round candidates, they announced the second round candidates in July. And then in 2010, after 1 year, they reviewed all the algorithms, because NIST alone not only reviewed the algorithms, they sent it for reviewing the algorithms to so many cryptographic experts, and they hold the second SHA-3 candidate conference in August. Finally, they announced 5 third round candidates in December. In the second round, they announced 14 candidates, and in the third round, they announced 5 candidates in 2010. So they have given the call for submissions in the year 2007, and finally in 2010 only they announced the third round candidates. Then in 2011 they announced the public comment. They have given the public comment for the final round of candidates, and in October 2012 NIST selected SHA-3, and the name given for SHA-3 is KECCAK. That is, we have to pronounce like this, KECCAK, created by Guido Bertoni, John Gilswan, and Michael Peters. So KECCAK or SHA-3 means KECCAK or SHA-3. That is the name given for SHA-3 as KECCAK in the paper they have submitted for this SHA-3 competition. Because each and every candidate submitted, and they have given their own names for the SHA-3, whatever SHA-3 algorithm they propose, they have given. And among all these final 5 SHA-3 algorithms, they have selected this KECCAK. The basic building block of this SHA-3, that is KECCAK, is the sponge construction. You know what is a sponge? Sponge means a cotton that absorbs everything. If we keep a sponge in a ink drop or a blood drop or a water drop, it just absorbs it. Likewise, here also the sponge function absorbs the input, and here in this SHA-3 there are 2 phases in the sponge construction process. One is the absorbing phase and another one is the squeezing phase. So absorbing phase means it absorbs the input, squeezing means it just outs the output. So only they have given the name as it absorbs the input. So sponge construction is, they have given a name, what their algorithm will do, based on that they have given a name. That's it. It's just a name of the function. That's it. So here the sponge function is defined by 3 parameters. F, that is the internal function used to process each input block. Then R, it is the size in bits of the input blocks, that is the bit rate. Then pad, that is the padding algorithm. And the sponge function allows both variable and input and output, making it a flexible structure that can be used for hash function. In the hash function, what we are giving is, we are giving a variable size input and we are getting a fixed size output. So then it is used in the pseudo random number generator. Their input itself is a fixed size in pseudo random number generator. Then in cryptographic, other cryptographic functions as well. So here in each round, the next orbits of the message is XORed into the first orbits of the state, and a function f is applied to the state. That is, the message R bits, it is split into R bits and it is XORed with the previous message bits, and a function is applied to it. Later on we can see what is the function applied to it. After the message is consumed, output R bits of each round as the hash output. Continue apply the F to get new states. Likewise, we have to apply the F and we will be getting new states. And here SHA-3 uses 1600 bits for the state size. So this is about the sponge function. Let us see how the input and output of the sponge construction process. This is the representation of input as well as output of the sponge function. See here, the input, the message size is of n bits. And here we are including the padding. Always padding is necessary. Why padding is necessary means we have to split the message into different blocks of size or bits. So in order to make the given message into multiples of orbits, we are padding the message with extra bits, and the total size of the message plus padding is k into orbits. So here we are dividing into k blocks. So here you see P0, P1 up to Pk minus 1. Each block is of size orbits. This is the input, and output, you see output is also orbits only. Here totally we are having I bits, and the remaining is for the whatever the things we padded, that is in the last block. So this is the output. So this is the input as well as the output representation of the sponge function. This is the overall representation of the sponge construction process. Earlier itself I told you that there are two phases. One is the observing phase as well as the skewing phase. Observing phase observes the input, and skewing phase output the hash value. Because this SHA is for a hash algorithm. It is a hash algorithm. So it produces a hash only. So it outputs the hash. The skewing process outputs the hash. So here the sponge construction process operates on a state variable S. That size of the state variable is B, that is R plus C bits. You know what is R and C? R we already seen that it is a bit rate, that is the number of bits processed at each iteration, and C is the capacity, that is it is measured by means of some achievable complexity in the hash function. And initially all the values are set as 0 and it is modified at the coming iterations. So the default values for the KECCAK are C equal to 1024 bits and R equal to 576 bits. B equal to R plus C. So B equal to 1600 bits. In the previous slide also we have seen that the SHA-3 uses 1600 bits. So how this 1600 comes means C size is capacity is 1024 bits and R the bit rate is 576 bits. If we add both, that only forms a block, that is B equal to 1600 bits. And here we are having two phases. One is the observing phase and another one is the skewing phase. Just like a sponge, the first step is to soak in or absorb the input message. Just we have to take the input message, and in the skewing phase the output is hashed or skewed out. The output hash is skewed out. Let us see the diagram. Here you see B. B means R plus C. So R, C. Likewise here in the block also we are having R and C. That is XORed. We already seen one is XORed with the previous value. This is XORed with the previous value. Then the function F is applied. What is F? Later on we see. Then we are getting a state. We are getting S. Then the state is XORed with the next block. Then we are applying a function. Again we are getting a state. Likewise it goes on. How many blocks we are having? That much blocks it goes on. Finally that value we are giving to the skewing phase. There in this queuing phase, what we are doing is, here also we are applying the function and we are having the hash output, hash value. So KECCAK of R comma C, we know R is a bit rate and C is the capacity equal to sponge of KECCAK minus F of R plus C comma pad of 10 star 1 into 10 star 1 comma R. So this function, sponge function, we are applying. The input to the sponge function is these things. So here this process happens. So the main functionality of the SHA-3 is the sponge construction process. The earlier SHA-512, you have seen some steps that is somewhat different compared to this. Here the peculiarity of this SHA-3 is the sponge. KECCAK is the sponge function or sponge construction process, and it consists of two phases. One is to observe the input and another is spews out the output hash value. So coming to the round function, in the previous steps we have seen f in many places, the function f. So what is this function f? It consists of totally 24 rounds, that is round 0 to round 23, and each and every round we are performing different steps, that is theta step, rho step, pi step, chi step, then iota step. That is some substitution step we are performing. That is a rotate round constant. RC of 0 is the rotate constant. That is round constant. RC 0 up to RC of 23. So it is the round constant. This is the rotation function applied to the row step. So here theta, what is theta step? It is a substitution process. Here new value of each bit in each word depends its current value, and on one bit in each word of preceding column and one bit of each word in the succeeding column. One substitution step we are applying in this theta step, and in the row step it is a permutation. One permutation step we are applying. Then in the pi again we are using a permutation. Then in the chi we are using the substitution, and in the iota we are using the substitution. That is updated by W of 0, 0. Word 0, 0 is updated by XOR with a round constant. Iota means here we are updating with a round constant. So totally we are having 24 round constants here. So we are applying these functions in each round. So each round consists of totally 5 steps. One is the theta step, rho step, pi step, chi step, as well as the iota step. In the iota step we are XORing the word with the round constant. That's all about the SHA-3. So this SHA-3, you go through the PPT of SHA, that is SHA-512. We have already discussed that SHA-2, one of the SHA-2 versions we have discussed. You go through the SHA-2 as well as the SHA-3 and find out the difference. What is the difference? So how it is secure? If you are generating a hash function using SHA-3, how it is secure, and if you are using a SHA-2, how it is providing the security, you can see. But the SHA-3 is also not vulnerable to attacks, but it is a somewhat older, so they NIST has planned to give a new SHA. That's it. So the SHA is more secure compared to the other SHAs. Another is this is RIPEMD is also a hash algorithm only. RIPEMD is a message digest for the RIPE groups. That is, RIPE group means it is a race integrity primitives evaluation. Race integrity primitives evaluation group message digest. Here also we are having so many variants of this RIPEMD. But here in this presentation we are going to discuss only the RIPEMD-160. So only in the syllabus it is given as RIPEMD-X. So many variants are available. So this RIPEMD-160 was developed in Europe as part of RIPE project in 96. I already told you what is the RIPE project. It is a race integrity primitives evaluation project. Many researchers are involved in the project. They made some attacks on MD4 and MD5. So they found out that there is some vulnerability in MD4 and MD5. So they proposed, in order to strengthen the message digest, they proposed another version of one message digest algorithm, that is the RIPEMD-160. This is somewhat similar to MD5 as well as SHA, and here it uses two parallel lines of 5 rounds of 16 steps. In the diagram we can see two parallel lines, two separate steps are there, and they are executed in parallel of 5 rounds of 16 steps, and this RIPEMD-160 creates a 160-bit hash value. It is somewhat slower compared to SHA, but it is more secure than SHA. They have proved that it is slower than SHA, but it is more secure than SHA. So this is the overview of this RIPEMD. It is similar to that of MD5. In MD5 we have seen 5 steps. Similar to that only, here also we are having 5 steps. The similar steps only, some differences only we are having. So here this we are padding message, so its length is 448 mod 512, and we are appending a 64-bit length value to message. Then we are initializing a 5-word buffer, that is ABCDE to, it is a hexadecimal value. In MD5 also we did this. Then we process message in 16 word, that is 512-bit chunks. Here we are using 10 rounds of 16-bit operations, 5 rounds. 10 rounds of 16-bit operations on message block and buffer in 2 parallel lines of 5. 10 rounds are there, but 2 parallel lines. Each parallel line consists of 5 rounds. Add output to input to form a new buffer value, then output hash value in the final buffer value. All these steps are same. What is the difference in this compared to MD5? Only the round function. The function alone is differing. Other than that, all these steps are similar to that of MD5 only. So let us see the round functions. Here we are having 2 parallel lines, and each line consists of 5 rounds of 16 steps. Each consists of 16 steps. So here we are having this round. So for each round we have to perform, that is we are having 10 rounds totally. 10 rounds parallelly it is used, but in MD5 the round function is different. Here it is different. This is the only difference between MD5 and this RIPEMD-160. Let us see the compression function of this. So here this compression function, this diagram, it is similar to that of MD5 only. There also we had a buffer ABCDE. Here also we are having a buffer. Then we are having a function fj here. There g of something we did, and there also we have a rotate functions and all. So this is the compression function of RIPEMD-160. It is somewhat similar to that of MD5 only. So coming to the design criteria of RIPEMD-160, it uses 2 parallel lines of 5 rounds. Why they used 2 rounds of 2 parallel lines of 5 rounds? In order to increase the complexity. What is our ultimate aim in cryptography? We have to provide more confusion and diffusion so that the attacker can't easily extract or get the information. So in order to increase the complexity only, they have given 2 parallel lines of 5 rounds. Then for simplicity, 2 lines are very similar. If you see the diagram clearly, both the lines are very similar only, so that it is simple. If you know what is happening in one single line, then it is similar operation only done in the other line. So it is so here we are using different case, different order of f's, then different ordering of xi. Step operation is very close to MD5. We have seen the same operation only differences in the round function. So rotate C by 10 bit to avoid a known MD5 attack, because we know MD5. If we know MD5, then we know what possibility we can have or exploit this MD5 algorithm. So if we know this MD5 with respect to this, means it is possible to attack this RIPEMD-160 also. So here they kept a rotate C by 10 bit. They have kept it as a rotate C by 10 bit in order to avoid the known MD5 attack. And here permutation varies parts of the messages used. So 2 words close in one round or far apart in the next round. 2 words close in the left line will be at least 7 positions apart in the right line. Then the circular shifts are there. It is designed for giving the best results, that is shifts larger than 5. If it is less than 5, it is considered as a weak, that is it is vulnerable to attack. So always we have to consider the shifts larger than 5 and different amount for the 5 rounds. We have to perform the circular shifts in a different order. Then total shifts for each word in 5 rounds is not divisible by 32. Not too many shift constants should be divisible by 4. So these are some of the design criteria considered by the researchers of this RIPEMD-160 in order to provide more security compared to SHA. Let us compare this RIPEMD-160 with respect to MD5 and SHA, because SHA 1 step, MD5 steps and RIPEMD steps are more or less similar. So we are comparing it. Here brute force attack is harder, that is 160 like SHA 1 versus 128 bits for MD5. So now it is not vulnerable to known attacks to MD4 or MD5, that is double lines considered more secure than SHA-1. Two parallel lines are there, so it is more secure. Still little is known for the design principles for them, slower than MD5, because here more steps are involved. If you see the round function, different many blocks are there compared to MD5. So it is slower because more steps are involved in this RIPEMD, so it is slower, but it is more secure. All designed as simple and compact. All the operations are very simple and compact. And the SHA-1 is optimized for big endian CPUs. Then RIPEMD-160 and MD5 is optimized for little endian CPUs. So in such cases, we can go in for this. If the CPU is big endian, then we can go in for SHA-1. Otherwise, if it is little endian, we can go in either for RIPEMD-160 or MD5. So far we have discussed many hash functions and hash algorithms like a secure hash algorithm, then message digest MD5, then this RIPEMD-160, and in the SHA also we have discussed SHA-2 as well as SHA-3. The latest version of SHA is SHA-3. The main peculiarity in this SHA-3 is the sponge construction process. So in order to provide more security, they have provided the sponge construction process. In this presentation, we have discussed about how the competition, SHA-3 competition was conducted, then about the sponge construction process in SHA-3, that is KECCAK, then SHA-3 iteration function, then RIPEMD-160 overview, then round function, compression function, and design criteria of RIPEMD-160. Then we compared RIPEMD-160 with MD5 as well as SHA-1. Thank you.